Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. If an algorithm had a proverb, dynamic programming would have the best of them. Hello everyone, welcome to the day 3 of the Algorithm Bootcamp series. Today it's the introduction to dynamic programming. In this course, we will learn a lot about dynamic programming, and I'll give you the exact visualization to everything about dynamic programming. Do subscribe to this channel if you are new here. It takes serious, sincere effort to build content online. A brief introduction to the series. The Algorithm Bootcamp series is the one playlist that will build your analytical skills for your online judge to test. Binary String Mechs, a CodeChef's April-long challenge question, had a similar application using dynamic programming. So let's dive deep into this course. Dynamic programming. Let's begin asking a very good question, and then we will reveal the famous quote that I just mentioned a few moments ago. So, is repeating the things which you already have an answer a good thing? A question. A programmer would disagree. This is what dynamic programming is about. To always remember answers to the sub problems you have already solved. Dynamic programming is all about a problem and its sub problem which sums up to that problem. The core idea of dynamic program is to avoid repeated work by remembering partial results, and this concept finds its application in a lot of real life situation in programming. Let us ask ourselves another great question here. If I write 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? If I write this, how many times did I write? Okay, one more time. If I write this, you'll have to count how many times I have written, I did write this one, right? What it is equal to. You would say 1 plus 1 plus 1, it's equal to 8. Now, what if I ask another question that if I add another 1 to it, what would you say? You'd say 9. And how did you say it so fast? Because you knew what I calculated before. I did had 8 in my mind, so when I added 1, it became 9 very quick. This is what dynamic programming is. Remembering what you had in the past and then solving a sub problem. Now adding 1 was a sub problem, but knowing this beforehand is the real concept of dynamic programming, right? Adding ones are little sub problems that we do in a dynamic programming. So dynamic programming is just a fancy way of remembering stuff to save time. Here you can see a pictorial representation of dynamic programming where how a brute force solution taking order of n time complexity, and dynamic programming reduces it to order of n squared 2 to the power n. But you know guys, selling it on eBay will give you an order of 1 time complexity. At this point, we have this little notion in our mind that dynamic programming is all about remembering something and solving sub problems. That's it. That's enough for now. Let us now understand dynamic programming and recursion. What is this relation with recursion? Recursion was also about solving sub problems, right? But dynamic programming is a little more. How it is? Dynamic programming is basically recursion plus using common sense. Now, what it means is that recursion allows you to express the value of a function in terms of other values of the function, where the common sense tells you if you implement your function in a way that recursive calls are done in advance and stored for easy access, it will make your program faster. Exactly what we said, that if you know something from beforehand, the example that we took, adding 8 ones, if you know the value of it is 8 and then I ask you adding 1 more to it, you'd immediately say 1. But using recursion, it'll again go from 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 till 9 and give you the answer 9. So that is the basic nut difference between dynamic programming and recursion. The intuition behind dynamic programming is that we trade space for time. Now, what it means is in programming, there is always a trade-off between time complexity and space complexity. So if your time complexity goes up, probably you are reducing on space complexity. And if your space complexity goes up, your time complexity might reduce. So here we are trading space for time. So we are we are all okay to increase our space complexity, but we want our time complexity to get reduced, right? Let us intuitively try to understand what I meant in the previous slide by taking up an example of Fibonacci numbers. Now, as we know, Fibonacci of 1, Fibonacci of 0, they are defined to be as 1. So these are the two base cases, that Fibonacci of 0 equals to Fibonacci of 1 equals to 1. Now, a Fibonacci is defined like this. Fibonacci of n equals to Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus Fibonacci of n minus 2. So Fibonacci of 2 is defined as Fibonacci of 0 plus Fibonacci of 1, right? Now, so the first few numbers in this series will be 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. So every number is formed by adding the previous two numbers, right? Fibonacci of 0 and the Fibonacci of the previous number, Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus Fibonacci of n minus 2. That is it, right? So here, now using a code, using recursion, how will it be written like this? Int fib int n. So int n is my integer that I want to find the Fibonacci of. So if it's less than 2, we return 1, else we keep on calling the function of fib n minus 1 and fib n minus 2. Now, a pictorial representation of this exact code is this one. Head over to here. If we call Fibonacci of 6, what will happen? It will call Fibonacci of 5 and Fibonacci of 4. If we call Fibonacci of 4, it will call again Fibonacci of 4 and Fibonacci of 3. Fibonacci 4 calls Fibonacci 3, Fibonacci 2, Fibonacci 2 calls Fibonacci 2, Fibonacci 1. Here in the same way they call functions. Now what can you see? Can you see repetition here? Can you see how many times Fibonacci 3 was called? Can you see how many times Fibonacci 2 was called? Can you see how many times? Can you see repetition in this? And let me tell you, using recursion, the code will find Fibonacci the number of times it is present. So Fibonacci 3 is present 3 times. It will, like a fool, perform Fibonacci of 3 times. But using dynamic programming, using memoization, what will happen is we won't perform Fibonacci of 3 times. We will just perform Fibonacci of 3 one time and remember its value and use whenever needed. So you can clearly understand that we are saving on time. Fibonacci of a bigger number would take so much time. It will just grow exponentially. To reduce that, we use dynamic programming here. We trade our space for time. How? Let us see. See here, Fibonacci of 0 is stored as 1, Fibonacci of 1 is stored as 1. We create an array, right? And then we store Fibonacci of I simply to be Fibonacci of I minus 1 plus Fibonacci result of I minus 2, right? So in this way, if you are to find Fibonacci of n, you straight away go to fib result of n minus 1, right? So if you go to that position, you will straight away get its answer in order of one time, just this operation, right? And we won't have to perform so much. So creating an array and doing it in a dynamic approach helps us so much. Are we using a different recurrence relation in the two codes? No, we aren't. Are we doing anything different in two codes? Yes, we are. What? In the recursive code, a lot of values are being recalculated multiple times. Like I said, we could do good for calculating each unique quantity only once. Take a look at the image and understand how certain. So I did help you understand this. Let us go to the next slide. Characteristics of dynamic programming. Now this is very important, that these two are the main characteristics of dynamic programming. How? Overlapping subproblems. Now this is one characteristic that will help you know that this problem must be solved by dynamic programming. Subproblems are smaller versions of the original problem. Any problem has overlapping subproblems if finding its solution involves solving some subproblem multiple times, right? Exactly the case of Fibonacci numbers. Take an example of Fibonacci numbers. To find the fib of 4, we need to break it down into following subproblems. So here you can see, to find Fibonacci of 4, we need to call Fibonacci of 3 and Fibonacci of 2. Again, so Fibonacci of 2 is being called 2 times. We can clearly see overlapping sub-problems here, as Fibonacci of 2 has been evaluated twice and Fibonacci of 1 has been evaluated 3 times here in this Fibonacci of 4. This kind of problems gives you an intuition that we need to head over to a dynamic programming approach. This is a solution approach. Now, second property which helps you know about the dynamic programming is optimal substructure problem. Any problem has optimal substructure property if its overall optimal solution can be constructed from optimal solutions to its subproblems for Fibonacci numbers. As we know, Fibonacci of n is nothing but Fibonacci of n minus 1 plus Fibonacci of n minus 2. This clearly shows that the problem of size n has been reduced to subproblems of size n minus 1 and n minus 2. We have reduced the great structure into smaller structures, and solving smaller structures can only lead to our greater structure. This kind of a substructure helps you judge that this problem can be solved using dynamic programming. Dynamic programming methods. There are two methods of solving a dynamic programming question: top down with memoization and bottom down with memoization. Let us learn a little bit about top down with memoization first. In this approach, we try to solve the bigger problem by recursively finding the solution to smaller subproblems. Whenever we solve a subproblem, we cache its result so that we don't end up solving it repeatedly if called multiple times. Exactly in your mind, keep thinking about the Fibonacci numbers, that Fibonacci diagram in which we were seeing that Fibonacci of a certain number was being calculated multiple number of times. Instead, what we just do is we return the saved result. The technique of storing the results of already solved subproblems is called memoization. Now, we will see this technique in our example of Fibonacci numbers, but first, let us see a non-dynamic recursive solution of finding the nth Fibonacci number. First, we will see a non-dynamic approach, a recursion approach. Then we will see a dynamic approach of the same Fibonacci number series problem. So let us look at it. See, this is a non-dynamic programming approach where we were calling n number of times. So if you can see here in this function, this one, if we are giving a number n, so we are giving the number from here, right? And if n is less than 2, we are returning n, right? If n is less than 2, so if n is 0 or 1, we would just return 1, right? And else what we do is we calculate Fibonacci of n minus 1 and we calculate Fibonacci of n minus 2 and we keep adding. This will lead you to that tree fashion. If we are to find Fibonacci of 4, first you create Fibonacci of 3 and Fibonacci of 2. Fibonacci of 2 creates Fibonacci of 1 and Fibonacci of 0. Just a minute. And Fibonacci of 3 creates Fibonacci of 2, Fibonacci of 1. And Fibonacci of 1, we know the result of Fibonacci of 1. Fibonacci of 2 again creates Fibonacci of 1 and Fibonacci of 0. So this kind of a structure is created using this recursive call. Now here also we would see that we are finding 2 times and 1 how many times? 3 times. But if we had a DP approach to the same problem, what would have happened? As we saw above, the problem shows overlapping sub-problems. So we have it in our mind that this is a dynamic programming better approach. So let's make use of memoization here, which we haven't in the previous slide. We can have an array to store. We can have an array to store the sub-problems, already solved sub-problems, right? How? See. We have an array called memoize, and in that array, we create a int of size n plus 1. So basically the number that is given to us, we create a size n plus 1 larger than it. And we just return calculate Fibonacci memoize n plus 1. So whenever you would see that the memoize of n is not equals to 0, That means that you have a value to it, already calculated value to it, and we would just return this. Now this is the main part of dynamic programming here, that we are using our saved value to calculate further values. If we already have solved this sub problem, simply return the result to the cache. This is what the basic crux of it. I'm not discussing here the entire code, I'm just giving you an intuition to the dynamic program approach. I hope this is a Java problem code. You can implement it in C++, Python, JavaScript, C, whichever language you are comfortable in. Similarly, using top up, you have a bottom up top tabulation. Now tabulation is the opposite of top down approach and avoids recursion. Now this avoids recursion. In this approach we solve the problem bottom up by solving all related sub problems first. This is typically done by filling up an n-dimensional table. Based on the results in the table, the solution of the original subproblem is computed. Tabulation is opposite of memoization. As in memoization, we solve the problem and maintain a map of already solved subproblems. In other words, in memoization, we do it top to down. Let's apply tabulation in our example of Fibonacci numbers, since we know that every Fibonacci number is a sum of two preceding numbers. We can use this fact to populate our table. Here is the code for our dynamic programming approach, bottom up. Now see, what does bottom up mean? Suppose you are asked to calculate the Fibonacci of 5, say. Here what you are doing, you are giving your instruction to your to your function that I want to calculate a Fibonacci of 5. See, our base cases are given something like this: dp of 0 as 0 and dp of 1 as 1. Right, this is our base case. Now we just keep calculating dp of I from int I equals to 2. So dp of 2 is nothing but dp of 1 plus dp of 0. Here I think it's a little mistake. Here it would be 1, right? dp of 0 is also 1, correct. So dp of 2 would be dp of 1 and dp of 0. Now what this says us, that dp of 2 is 1 plus 1 is 2. Now this 2 is stored in this dp of 2, and we are when are we going to stop this loop? We are going to stop this loop as soon as we reach n, right? Less than n. So like in this way we can find dp of 3 in order of 1 time complexity, dp of 2 plus dp of 1, and we know the values of dp of 2. It is being stored in that array, right? New dp. So here this is the concept of bottom up, that from bottom we are building up the structure of a Fibonacci number series. So we just keep on adding from the bottom and then we save it at the last. And if you want to find Fibonacci of anything, we just go to that element. So if Fibonacci of 5, we just go in this array, we find dp of 5, and that's it. That's your answer. So this is the bottom up strategy for dynamic programming. This was just the introduction of everything. Key applications of dynamic programming are knapsack problem, mathematical optimization problem, longest common subsequence is one of the famous problems, flight control, robotic control, time sharing. We would learn all of this in this algorithm series contest day by day. We would learn about all of these. The dynamic programming examples are one of the key to solve the questions. Do subscribe to this channel if you want more of such content. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.